Hello, curious explorers, and welcome back to the Curiosity Club. I'm so excited you're here for another episode of Secrets of Curiosity. Today, we've got a supersized question from our friend Leo who asks, why are planets different sizes? Why is Jupiter so huge and Mercury so tiny? That's a fantastic question, Leo. Have you ever looked at a picture of our solar system and wondered the same thing? It looks like a cosmic lineup of marbles and beach balls. Well, get ready to travel back in time, billions of years, to uncover the secret of why planets come in all sorts of sizes. It's a story of stardust, ice, and a mysterious line in space. Let's blast off and investigate. To understand why planets are different sizes, we first need to know how they were born. It all starts with a star, our very own sun. A long time ago, about 4.5 billion years ago, there wasn't a sun or any planets. Instead, there was a gigantic, swirling cloud of gas and dust floating in space. Imagine a cosmic dust bunny bigger than you can even think of. Then, something amazing happened. The very center of this cloud began to get super dense and hot. It got hotter and hotter until, poof, a star was born. That star is our sun. But what about all the leftover gas and dust? Well, it didn't just disappear. As the baby sun lit up, the remaining material flattened out into a huge, spinning disk around it. Think of it like a giant pizza dough spinning in the air. This spinning platter of cosmic stuff is called a protoplanetary disk, and it held all the ingredients needed to build our entire solar system. So, what exactly was in this giant, spinning disk? It was a mix of three main things: tiny bits of rock, small flecks of metal, and lots of ice. Yes, ice. But not just water ice like in your freezer. There was also frozen ammonia and methane, which are gases here on Earth, but were frozen solid in the coldness of space. At first, all these ingredients were just tiny particles, smaller than grains of sand, all mixed together and whizzing around the new sun. But over millions of years, these tiny bits started to stick together. It's a bit like how dust bunnies form under your bed. A few specks clump together, and then more and more join in, making the clump bigger. In space, this process is called accretion. Little bits of rock and metal collided and stuck, forming bigger pebbles. Then, these pebbles bumped into each other to form boulders. These boulders kept growing, gathering more and more material, until they became massive space rocks we call planetesimals. Basically, baby planets. Now here's where things get really interesting, and a little chilly. Not all parts of the protoplanetary disk were the same. The area close to the brand new blazing hot sun was, well, very hot. But the farther you moved away from the sun, the colder it got. This created an invisible but super important boundary in the disk called the frost line. Think of it like this. If you stand close to a campfire, you're warm and any snow around you will melt. But if you walk far away from the fire, it's cold enough for snow and ice to stay frozen. The frost line in our early solar system was the special distance from the sun, where it was cold enough for water, ammonia, and methane to freeze into solid ice particles. Inside the frost line, closer to the sun, it was too hot. All the ice evaporated into gas. So, in this inner region, the only solid building materials available were rock and metal. Outside the frost line, however, it was a completely different story. It was a winter wonderland of rock, metal, and tons of ice. This frost line is the key to why we have two very different types of planets. Let's start with the planets that formed inside the frost line: Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. Since it was too hot here for ice to be solid, these planets could only be built from the rock and metal available in this region. Rock and metal were much rarer than ice in the disk, so there just wasn't as much building material to go around. These baby planets grew by collecting rocks and metal, but they couldn't get very big. That's why the inner planets are all relatively small, solid, and rocky. We call them terrestrial planets, because terra means Earth. Now, let's journey out beyond the frost line, to the cold outer part of the solar system. This is where Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune formed. Out here, it was a planetary construction paradise. Not only did these baby planets have rock and metal to build with, but they also had access to the huge supply of ice. Since ice was so much more abundant than rock and metal, the cores of these planets grew much larger, much faster. They became so massive that their gravity was incredibly strong, strong enough to start pulling in the huge amounts of gas, like hydrogen and helium, that were also floating around in the outer disk. They gobbled up gas like a cosmic vacuum cleaner. This is how they became the enormous gas giants and ice giants we see today. Jupiter, for example, grew so big that you could fit all the other planets in our solar system inside it. So, the simple difference in location, being inside or outside the frost line, determined what ingredients a planet could use, and that ultimately decided its final size. So, let's do a quick recap of our cosmic journey. We learned that our solar system started as a huge cloud of gas and dust that formed our sun and a spinning disk of leftovers. This disk was filled with rock, metal, and ice. An invisible boundary called the frost line separated the hot inner part of the disk from the cold outer part. Inside the frost line, it was too hot for ice, so planets like Earth and Mars could only form from the limited supply of rock and metal, keeping them small. But outside the frost line, planets like Jupiter and Saturn had access to a massive amount of ice, allowing them to grow huge and then pull in enormous amounts of gas, becoming the giants of our solar system. Isn't that amazing? It all comes down to location, 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 and that's the secret to why our planets have such different sizes. The universe is full of incredible stories like this one, and we're just getting started. What other cosmic questions are you curious about? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed our adventure today, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the Curiosity Club so you don't miss our next episode of Secrets of Curiosity. Keep asking questions, keep exploring, and stay curious. See you next time, explorers.